which is devastating for us, because then it means that we need to bring in Tony Ralston. And as good as Tony Ralston is, he's definitely not as good as Alistair Johnston. So all eyes will be on Celtic Park. All eyes will be on Celtic Park tomorrow. All eyes will be on Celtic Park to see if when Celtic put out the pictures of the training, to see if the one and only Alistair Johnston is playing, is in even training at all. He has been pulled out of the international team. The international break is almost here. Over the last few seasons, Celtic have suffered at this time of year with being international breaks, players getting injured, Cameron Carter-Vickers for one, and it's never a good time. But Alistair Johnston, the case of Alistair Johnston playing for Canada, the Canada manager explained that he's been left out, the Celtic defender has been left out of the international squad because he's recovering from an injury. But it seems we all seen him go off a couple of weeks ago, and we all seen him come off during the Borussia Dortmund game, holding his back again, and it's not good. Let's just hope that, do we keep him out this weekend, or do we get him in this weekend and then leave him out for the international? Well, he's going to be out the international game anyway, so let's just hope that during that week of the international break that Alistair Johnston does get some rest, and it's not an issue that's going to cost us problems. We do play Ross County this Sunday. It is a 12 o'clock kickoff up in Dingwall. It's a fantastic bus journey. You've got to get up at like 6 in the morning to travel up to Dingwall, and or you can go up the night before. Go up the night before and stay in Inverness and get the Inverness boys to put on a night in Inverness. That's what we used to do, and it was always a fantastic night. After that, there is there's another game that's of ultimate importance, the 19th of October. And it's Aberdeen. We need to make sure that he's back for the Aberdeen game. Let's face it, that's a top of the table clash. No matter how you see it, Aberdeen Celtic will be a top of the table clash. But this weekend we've got a hard game away to Ross County. Whilst it's devastating news that he is, what's today's win? Come for that, you are. This is fucked off. Ta-ta. In fact, you know what? I'm not in the mood tonight, and it's not a wins at all. But anyway, Mark, just fuck off. Fuck off. Just fuck off. Simple. Just fuck off. Go and watch one of your fucking your other channels. Do you know what? I can't be arsed with folk tonight. How you user for channel? There you go. I'll never see you again. Ta-ta. Bye. Anyway. Hail, hail, the champion, says Michael Ross. Mr. Quinn's in the house. Mr. Quinn, Marquis just been told to fuck off, basically. Can't be arsed with assholes tonight. Can't be arsed with assholes tonight at all. If you don't like it, fuck off. Simple. Anyway, Tam Max in the house. David Bell's in the house. Hail, hail, boys and girls. And the girls are playing Sevco tonight. Does anyone actually watch the women's football? Being honest, does anybody actually watch the women's football? I know that the Green Brigade have said that they're going to be doing a Celtic end again. They're going to be doing a Celtic end again at the women's football. They are going to be at the women's football. Tam Max in the house. David Bell's in the house. Hey, hey, boys and girls. Girls are playing Sevco tonight. Good afternoon, everyone. And Lanky, I've been thinking, see when we play the big guns and we're playing five at the back, there's nothing wrong with being defensive, especially when there's only three centre mids in midfield. Lanky, I says that we should have played five in midfield. Simple as that. We should have played five in midfield. Pull the wingers back in Europe rather than having them up front. and play them. But what's more important is the fact that Alistair Johnston has been pulled out of the international squad. That means there's every chance that Alistair Johnston will not play this weekend. Do we keep him out this weekend to make sure that he's 100% fit, that he's 100% fit for the Aberdeen game? Because that is ultimately a top of the table clash, with Aberdeen sitting on the exact same points as Celtic. They're sitting on maximum points also. So are Celtic. Ross County are sitting down in 7th position, sitting on 7 points. They're sitting on -5. Celtic have got the goal difference. That's all that matters. But we want to drop in points this weekend or against Aberdeen the weekend after. I think we want to make sure that we maintain our unbeaten run in the league. And let's face it, will it cheer people up this weekend when Celtic break a 118-year record and when Kasper Schmeichel manages to beat the 118-year record? I think it'll make the fans. They won't forget about the Champions League. We won't forget about that win, but neither will the players. They won't forget about that result in the Champions League, and neither they should do, because they need to rectify it. Brendan Rodgers needs to rectify it. We're not talking about the Champions League anyway. That's done and dusted for a while, thankfully. We've got a more important game this weekend, and it is all about getting back to league duty and maintaining our goal difference. Because Aberdeen play this weekend also, and let's face it, they're sitting with 6 games played, and they've got 6 wins. They've got 12 goals for and 4 goals against. They've got a goal difference of 8, sitting on 18 points in second place. Followed away down in 3rd position on the 13 points is the Sevco, and then Motherwell are sitting on 10. Motherwell really need to up their game and just close that 3-point gap. So did Dundee United. They need to close the 4-point gap. But Aberdeen are breathing down Celtic's neck, and any slip up at all at Ross County. Now, Ross County's last games, they lost their first 2 games of the new SPFL. They then won a game, and then they drew their first 2 games of the SPFL. They won a game, and then they've lost their last 2 games. They've not got a lot of goals against. Well, they haven't. They've got 12 against. So they are shipping goals. It needs to be a game where Celtic get back into the swing of things and start scoring goals. Anyway, Christopher, hail boys and girls. Lanky says, Michael Brendan said the other day he's not going to change his tactics. We'll see how Brendan reacts to the media tomorrow afternoon, because I think Brendan Rodgers having time to think about what he said, and sometimes you could say things in the heat of the moment where you're not thinking 100%, but will he change? Who knows? And anyway, it's not Champions League this weekend, it's back to the SPFL and what we're here for. That's why I'm a fan of Rodgers. That's why I'm not a fan of Rodgers, says Michael, because he won't change his ways. Is the tide turning on Rodgers again? Has the feel-good factor gone? There we go. There we go. Now, I said that Brendan Rodgers would be judged on his performance and the team's performance in the Champions League. Let's do that. There we go, because a couple of weeks ago everybody was saying fantastic to have Brendan Rodgers back. So tonight, we've not done a poll for ages. Tonight I'm asking, has Brendan Rodgers lost the feel-good factor with fans? This will be interesting, because a lot of people were saying, I don't know what, he'll never change his ways, all the rest of it. But has he lost the feel-good factor with the fans? Has the result in Dortmund knocked the confidence of the fans that Brendan Rodgers... A lot of people said last season, we didn't want him back. A lot of people are still saying this season we don't want him back. But when it does come down to it, has he lost the feel-good factor of the fans? That's the question for you tonight. And there's been over 32 votes already. And 88% say no, 12% say yes. 12% are saying yes, he has lost the feel-good factor with the fans. GT GT Boy 67 says, hope Rodgers saw the Villa game. Villa got battered and still come away with a win. Did you see the goals? The Villa keeper actually made one of the reels for saves of the week. He was top keeper in the Champions League this week with the saves of the week. I think they had about 3 or 4 saves that he made, and one of them, you should never have got to it, but he did. And you've got to admit that Villa are still well up in the Champions League table, and it's come down to their keeper. Should our keeper have done better in the Dortmund game? Well, that's another question for another day. But the poll question tonight is, has Brendan Rodgers lost the feel-good factor with the fans? Answer that one in the poll. Dortmund, and that's Larry play with 3 at the back. Counter-attacking. I'm just trying to jump through these because there's a few good of our fans wanting to put the blame on Brendan when they've been choking to say something. You can tell, said Lanky, there's a good few of our fans wanting to put the blame on Brendan. They've been choking to say something, you can tell. Yeah. It was always going to be a matter of time with Brendan Rodgers. It was always going to be a matter of time before a certain section of the fans turned on him. And that's why I'm asking the question, has he lost the feel-good factor? Just over the last couple of weeks, since the beginning of the season, and getting that result in the first week of the Champions League, was fantastic. And it was, everything's going good. And there is a saying that, Celtic are only one defeat away from a crisis. I don't think that defeat by Dortmund is going to put Celtic in crisis mode by any means of any manner of means. But the fact that one of our defenders, two of our defenders now, at this time of the season, again, are going to be on the injury bench. And it couldn't happen at a worse time. It is always at the beginning of the season. Alistair Johnston's been carrying a back injury. He needs to be rested. Do we rest him this weekend? And do you trust the one and only Tony Ralston to come in his position and to have a good game? Because I tell you one thing, Alistair Johnston is a player and a half, and if we lose him for any length of time over the next couple of weeks, and especially for the Aberdeen game, that's the one that Brendan Rodgers is thinking about. He's thinking about the game in Italy, and and that's why I think that if he's been pulled out of the international squad already, with that back injury, he'll definitely be at the game this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see what Brendan Rodgers says, because the international manager has already confirmed that Alistair Johnston will not make the trip to Canada for the up-and-coming games, the international game with Canada. So it's highly likely that we'll get Brendan Rodgers out with the press conference tomorrow afternoon saying that he's out. It's as simple as that. He is out. We're going to rest him up because he's injured. He is injured. Tell me what you think about that. Just wait till I check something. Would it be Thursday? Interesting. But anyway, another defender that is he's still on the books at Celtic, but he's out on loan. Alexandro Bernabei. He's been talking to Brazilian media, telling a podcast that he struggled with life in Scotland. I get him with that one. I totally get him with that. And Alexandro Bernabei, a player that was brought in. It's funny that we'd get rid of a South American and then bring in a Spanish guy. But the Brazilian, no, he's not Brazilian. He's Argentinian. But he did struggle with life at Celtic. Bernabei made 27 appearances during 18 months at the club, and he struggled with life. It was cool. I got to know life there, and it's something else. It's another life. I'm used to Argentina. The meals were at a specific time. In Scotland, that time I wasn't used to. South Americans are like Spanish. They don't. You eat your dinner later. You know, in Scotland, you're eating your meals a lot earlier. And the South Americans and the Spanish, they like to eat later at night. I wonder how Alex Valle is getting on with life with that, because the Spanish do like to eat their main meal around about 9 o'clock at night. Anyway, move on, Felix. Bernabei, we're going to talk about Schmeichel, because Peter Schmeichel's been talking about his son after the game. I noticed on was it CBS network in America, he was talking about that his son Kasper is a perfect fit for Celtic. He was bigging him up even after that terrible game the other night. Playing on the biggest stage, he's back in the Champions League, and it was a good move for him, says Peter Schmeichel. He said it was a good move for him. He's getting back, he's in the Champions League. He spoke about the connection with Brendan Rodgers and having that previous working relationship, and how Brendan Rodgers' style complements Kasper Schmeichel. Let's just hope that Schmeichel gets the result that we need at the weekend. Celtic need to pick themselves up to travel up to Dingwall and get the result. And I want Kasper Schmeichel to be an absolute legend. Nobody was going to say it. When you seen the game at the weekend, when Wednesday night, you're like, Kasper's never going to be a legend. Not when you get a scoreline like that. But he can go into the game on Sunday known for a fact that if he keeps a clean sheet, which he should do against Ross County, if he keeps a clean sheet, he will become a history maker in his own right, and that will be fantastic, and that will give him a buzz more than anything. It's back down to league business. With Cameron Carter-Vickers out injured, the manager will be asked if he's coming back, because he was a big, massive loss in the Champions League. Brendan Rodgers will know that he was a massive loss for the second year in a row. And with Alistair Johnston now out injured also, it seems like we've got another run of bad luck when it comes to defenders at this stage of the season. Lorna Gallagher's in the house. Hey everyone, hope you're well. Mr. Quinn says, I'll have my dinner around 7pm. I think we'll have my dinner around 7pm. As for Engels and Taylor and McGregor, for Champions League, they need a severe looking at. We'll talk about McGregor in a minute, because I spoke about and McGregor needs to up his game, was the thumbnail. And he does, but we've not got to him yet, and we'll get to him just shortly. James Boy, Paul Welsh says, I wish Brendan Rodgers tried to keep Iwata. I think he would have been more effective in the Champions League over Kalmak, just my personal opinion. Paul Welsh, when you look at the way Iwata's playing down at Birmingham, scoring goals, ridiculous goals, and playing fantastic, I think it's always a difficult situation. You could have put him out on loan and we could have kept him on the books, but he wanted to go and play football, and not getting game time at Celtic, dropping Callum McGregor. The question should be, can Callum McGregor up his game? Can Callum McGregor take his game to... Callum McGregor is a fantastic player. Let's not beat about the bush. Callum McGregor was interviewed by UEFA Television on YouTube, and he was asked to talk about certain players. Now, it was funny that he spoke about Kasper Schmeichel, saying that he was an absolutely fantastic keeper. He was asked about Kyogo Furiashi, and he says that he's never played with a striker that is so clinical. It's a strange one. So clinical with one touch for the goal. When you look at his Kyogo stats, it's true, but he was off the boil last season, and he's been off the boil at the beginning of this season. And then he was asked about Greg Taylor. Yes, Callum McGregor was asked about Greg Taylor, and he said that Greg Taylor was Mr. Dependable. Mr. Dependable. He's always there, just always there, and he's always got that good pass. We are spoiled in the USA with good football coverage, except for the SPFL. Thankfully, we have Baz Sims, James Beattie. Big up James Beattie, who comes in from America and gives us just talk Celtic and stuff. A lot of people don't like it, a lot of people do. And the upside is we're sitting on, oh yes, we lost one, because I told them, fuck off. And we're sitting on 19,063 subscribers. And that's a fantastic achievement. And I do block some Celtic fans, because let's face it, if they're going to give me dogs abuse, there's no need for it. I'm just down here talking about Celtic, and if they want to give me dogs abuse, well, they can fuck off, do it somewhere else and do it, to be fair. Evening Baz, says Ian McKenzie. I was thinking about Awata too, says Jamesy Boy. We need to pack the midfield. I'd have either up front and these big away day Champions League, and Kyogo is not strong enough. Kyogo never really got the runs that we were hoping that we'd get. But then Adam Ida never got much of a chance either. But that game, it was written off the time that Adam Ida and that came on to the pitch, which is what it is. We need to get over the Champions League games. We need to get over the Champions League games. It is what it is. The players knew that it was a game ultimately, and I spoke about it this morning. The players would have known if they got anything out that game at all, it would have been good. The fact that we got absolutely humbled, well, that's a different thing altogether. Dan says to Lanky, I'll be keeping an eye out for you. Good for that. James Beattie says, Kasper has been brilliant for Celtic. Proven EPL winner, Champions League experience, and somehow getting through in the Champions League. You can put your bottom dollar that he'll have played a big part of it. Yes, James, I totally agree with that. I think it is all still to play for. If you had told Celtic fans at the beginning of the competition that we knew that we had to finish 24, either 24 or up in the league to get the 2 playoff games. Getting the 8 games in the Champions League this season has been absolutely fantastic for the club, and getting through to the playoff position will be even better, and it gives us 10 games in the Champions League, which is absolutely fantastic, but we've got players that are injured and we really need them. Let's just hope that even though Alistair Johnston is looking like he will be out this weekend, let's hope that 2-week rest period is enough to get the issue with his back sorted. Because if not, if we lose Alistair Johnston for any length of time this season, it could be devastating for Celtic. It could be absolutely devastating for Celtic. But anyway, I'm sure whoever comes in this weekend will be more than willing to step up and play, as they say. Peter says, I always look forward to listening to Baz each day. Well done, you, mate. Well, yeah, I'm not going to take personal insults or nonsense. It's just, there's no need for it. Do you know what I mean? If you don't like it, don't listen to it. Simple as that. Michael says, Dan, beep your ass. Lanky says, my prediction, it's just cheers. Why has it just jumped over? Well, Lorna's got a new car. Yes, Michael Ross says, so who's going to own up to being shite predicting our Champions League scorelines? I think that everyone that predicted any kind of scoreline, fanciful scorelines of 4-3 and 4-0 and 4-1 were way off the mark. We got completely humbled in the first couple of minutes. But anyway, I've asked the question. We're on 99 votes so far. Has Brendan Rodgers lost the feel-good factor with fans? Has he lost the feel-good factor? I don't think he has. I mean, I think that people were angry about the game in the Champions League, and rightly so. And the comment I'm saying, look, I'm not going to change the way we play in the Champions League because it's a proven method. If we go defensive, if we go into the Champions League and we sit back with 5 at the back, you're just asking the other team to beat you. And we do it on a week-to-week basis. You know, when teams go to a back 5 in the SPFL, there's only ever one outcome, and it's defeat, no matter how you like it or not. So for people saying we should go to a back 5, no, we should go to a midfield 5, and keep the 3 midfielders in the midfield, but pull them closer together and pull your wingers back. Pull your wingers back into a 5 in the midfield, so that it stops the other team getting the advantage. Because we were caught missing in the midfield. And with that being said, it's time to talk about Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor is in the thumbnail, and Callum McGregor needs to up his game. Callum McGregor does need to up his game. So I'm going to end that one there, and I'm going to do another quick poll. There's a one for you. There's one for you. Can Callum McGregor up his game in the Champions League? Can Callum McGregor up his game in the Champions League? Can he become the player that we need him to be? Mr. Quinn says, I think we need Alistair Johnston and Cameron Carter-Vickers back after the international break. It's that simple. It's true, we do. Big Tony Ralston should be good enough for this weekend. If you know nothing, just blame the manager. Pretty much, that's the way that the fans have went. I'll own up to it. I got carried away with the hype a wee bit because I totally grounded after that result. I was hoping for a draw. Paul McDuff, you were not hoping for a draw. There was Michael Ross says, I said before the game I had a funny feeling, turned out to be indigestion. Yeah, Michael Ross, you were, and Carly was saying that we were going to win 2-0. She was confident. We're going to win 2-0. But anyways, it is in the past. There was plenty of goals, Lanky, just at the wrong end, unfortunately. This is true. Paul Baird's at the house. The breaking news tonight is the fact that Alistair Johnston looks like he's going to be out of the Celtic game this weekend. He was pulled off during the Dortmund game. He has also been announced by Jesse Marsh, who is the Canada boss. He has been pulled out of the Canada game, the upcoming game against Panama. That would have been an interesting game to watch. Against Panama, and because he is rehabbing after an injury, which isn't too good for Celtic. I just hope that he's better for the Aberdeen game, because the Aberdeen game after the international break is the big game for Celtic. Top of the table clash. A big top of the table clash. Loads of people, actually, most fans think Rodgers' tactics were garbage, says Michael Ross. It's the same tactics that we've used all season. And if Dortmund hadn't scored so soon after Celtic had scored, and if we'd managed to hold on for 5 or 10 minutes, the game could have been completely different. But I think as soon as that second goal goes in, and as soon as they get the second penalty, it's good night, sweetheart, after that. Honestly, I thought we'd lose 3-2, but I didn't want to be negative or put a kiss of death on us, says Jamesy boy. AR says, the only good thing about the international breaks is if our players don't have to travel for their countries and rest up. Well, Callum McGregor isn't playing international football, so he should be able to rest up slightly, and hopefully Alistair Johnston will come back fully fit after that. Lanky went for 3 each draw. Ian McKenzie says, the midfield trio need to up their game. Not just for the Champions League and not just Calmac. Yes, because Rio Hatate hasn't looked at his 100% best. Callum McGregor, when asked about Rio Hatate on the Champions League video that's on YouTube, said that Rio Hatate, when he turns it on, he's unplayable. But it was when he turns it on. He says he's a fantastic player, but he also said about Rio Hatate, he says he is a player that is improving every day that he's here, which was an interesting one, saying that he's improving as a player every day that he's here. Anyway, Lanky says that tickets for the Sheep game will be available tomorrow, and general sales be fast troops. General sale for the away game. I know it's at home, isn't it? Jesus, it's at home. It is at home. Is it? Yeah, it's at home. Yeah, they'll be on jail. Yeah, so they're on general. Well, it's a home game against Aberdeen. It should be fine. If it was up in Aberdeen, I'd thought, but it's a home game. Ross County away, then Aberdeen on. Yeah. I didn't even want to look to the next Champions League game. Didn't even want to look at that. That's the end of October, the 23rd of October. And then Motherwell away, the 27th of October. It's some month that Celtic do have. It's not going to, it wasn't, let's just hope that it goes the way that we want domestically, because ultimately the way that it's going in the Champions League just now isn't what we wanted. Anyway, the tickets are on general sale for the Aberdeen game tomorrow, and I'm sure Celtic Park will be a full house. We've Wilson QW is in the house. Paul Welsh says, I think it might be the first 20 minutes or so in the county game, but I won't watch the full game. Michael Ross says, my predictions when the draw came out. Dortmund lost, Atalanta draw, Club Brugge win, Young Boys win, Zagreb draw, Slovan Bratislava win, and Aston Villa away a loss. That's an interesting one, James. That is an interesting one. Aston Villa are looking like a team on absolute form. Carly is in the house. Hope she's good. Away matches in Europe under Brendan Rodgers are terrible. Away games in Europe under any manager with Celtic has been terrible for ages, and we've spoke about it before. We are where we are when it comes to the manager. We've tried three different types of managers. We've tried Neil Lennon as manager in Europe, and he had some success a long time ago, but it's very, very difficult now. I admit at half time I thought that we could maybe snatch a draw, says Michael Ross. The penalties didn't help. No, they didn't. And yeah, we only started to play the last half hour. Yeah, that's just like a lot of teams in Scotland. Anyway, what are going to be your predictions for Celtic Ross County? I'm putting on my prediction now. Ross County versus Celtic is going to be a 3-0 win to Ross County. I think Celtic will get their shooting feet back on. We did score one goal against the mighty Borussia Dortmund, but I think it's going to be 3-0 to Celtic at the weekend. Don't ask me who the first goal scorer will be, because I think Brendan Rodgers will change the team quite a bit due to injuries. So tell me in the comment section what you think the score will be for the Ross County game this weekend. We can't compete with that money. No, we can't. Even Joseph Davis in the house. Lank says, Lorna, I was thinking about doing automatic for my licence. Talking about driving. Jesus. Gary Haycroft is Mobley is first in. He's going for 4-0 Celtic. Gary Haycroft is going for 3-0 Celtic. Aberdeen will be the real test, says James Beattie, and it'll give us a chance to see the boys are really made of. I think that Celtic need to come back fighting with all guns blazing this weekend and the Aberdeen game. It's unfortunate that we're going into another international break. We just hope that no players get injured on the international break, because if they do, Aberdeen will smell blood, and Aberdeen having the chance to go top of the table if they beat Celtic at Celtic Park. It hasn't happened for a long time. Much like a kid. Yeah. Are Aberdeen due a result? Or will it be one of those games where Celtic win comfortably against Aberdeen at Celtic Park? It's always this time of year that Celtic do. I can remember Celtic a few years ago getting a massive scoreline, more than 7, against Aberdeen at this time of year. And some more scorelines are coming in. Liz Donnelly is going for 3-0 Celtic. Carly's going for 4-0 Celtic. Joseph Davidson's going for 4-0 Celtic. James Beattie's going for 4-1 Celtic. Mr. Quinn's going for 4-0 Celtic. Lanky's going for 3-1 against Ross County. No, Lanky, no. We cannot lose a goal against Ross County. Ross County's, we can't. We have to maintain this unbeaten run, and going one more game, just one more game. And it's interesting, the fans. Can Cal mark up his game in the Champions League? 76% say yes and 24% say no. Interesting. We need to get we need good things back happening with Celtic, and we need to go into the international break with Kasper Schmeichel on a complete high, because he has overtaken the clean sheet record that goes back to 118 years. And I think that we will do it this weekend. I don't think that Ross County will score against us. So, Lanky, I think your prediction will be wrong once again. 17-0 says Michael Ross. Lorna Gallagher says 3-0. Jamesy Boy is going for 4-0. Andrew O'Hare is going for 5-0. Kevin Kimmett is going for 5-1. Celtic. Vincent O'Brien is going for 4-1. Another one who thinks that Ross County will smell blood, managed to get a goal against us, and clean sheet Kasper Schmeichel will have just be Kasper Schmeichel. Anyway, Lorna Gallagher's laughing. Lanky says County will be tough, especially when we don't have Alistair Johnston and Callum Carter-Vickers. So it'll be Ralston and Rocky at centre back. Will it be Rocky at centre back? Or will the manager trust Trusty? Will the manager stick with Trusty? I think he'll stick with Trusty because Rocky's not had match game time. And bringing a player on that's not had a full 90 minutes all season, he hasn't played a game since pre-season, so why would you bring him on for a game of such importance? Every game is massive for Celtic just now to maintain that lead at the top of the table. But Kevin's going for 5-1, Andrew Hare's 5-0, Vincent O'Brien 4-1. Lanky says County away is always tough, especially when we don't have... Yeah, exactly. Aberdeen are pish, says Joseph Davison. Aberdeen are sitting second in the league on 100% record, the exact same as Celtic. They are sitting on 100% record. They are sitting unbeaten. And they've only had 4 goals against all season. They've got 12 goals for, and they've only had 4 goals scored against them. That's the same as the team in third position. They've only had 4 goals scored against them. But they were all, majority of them were in one game. But anyway, Celtic and Aberdeen are at the top of the table on joint 18 points. And Celtic will need to go out and do their damnedest on Sunday. And Aberdeen will sit on top of the table before them. Anyway, Ross County will be tough. It will always be a tough game. And Alistair Johnston has scored a goal or 2 up there. Joseph says, hail Baz, Kasper, poor AJ jumps out the way. Kasper should have covered the near post. I think Alistair Johnston should have tried to hit the ball out, to be fair. I mean, he turns his back on the ball. But for me, he should have his hands behind his back and he should be trying to stop the ball. And if it goes out wide, the fact that he steps out the way and Kasper Schmeichel sees it late and it's a bullet into that front post. It's an absolute bullet. Alistair Johnston should have done better, to be fair, but he was carrying an injury at that point, and maybe that's why he's thinking, fuck, I'm not getting hit by that ball. That puts my back out and I'm goosed altogether. Evening Baz says Sean and Troops, you're all keeping well. Yes, we are all keeping well. We're still thinking about the game midweek, but we'll get over it this weekend. Carly is going for 1888 nil Celtic. Celtic will beat County this weekend, says Paul. 3-0 he thinks, and Joseph said he's going for 6-0. 6-0 this weekend. It's going to happen, mate. Lanky's saying it's going to happen that Ross County will score. I said this summer that a proper defensive midfielder is a must for Europe. I said that 12 points was a must in Europe. No embarrassing defeats. Rodgers failed on that part already. He's not an elite manager, said Rab B. Niz. Well, we're still sitting with 3 points. There's still a chance that we'll get the 12 points. It's not all done and dusted yet. The team are exactly where they thought they would be, points-wise, after 2 games, which is good. You know, the team didn't think. The players were realistic. And the players and the manager know football. And they know how realistic they are. And they know that if they got anything from the Dortmund game, it would have been a bonus. But when you're playing away from home against a team that play like that, and if they play like that the rest of the Champions League, they're going to be winners this year. I'll tell you that right now. Look at the way our defence, Ralston, Rocky, Scales and Vi, that's my thinking. He thinks that'll be the defence this weekend. I don't think that Rocky will start. I still think it's going to be Ralston, Scales and Austin Trusty and Alex Vi. Leon have been struggling this season. They're playing later this evening. I'm sure Celtic fans will be watching that. Calmac can only up his game if those around him up theirs. 5 versus 3 seldom works. Yeah, I know this. This is why I thought that Brendan Rodgers should have pulled the 2 forwards into midfield. Anyway, was Engels playing with killing myself. Paul says Rio came on. I think he looked a bit more comfortable. But then Rio has that shot for the edge of the box, and there was people in the top stand going, "Oh, No, it's 7. They were diving for cover. Rio Hatate's shots on goal have been woeful for a good while. But anyway, Brown Warrior says, putting lipstick on that pig, Baz. Put lipstick on that pig. The fuck are you talking about? Putting lipstick on a pig, Baz. Putting lipstick on a pig? If the fans think they will get a result against Atalanta, it's not going to be the case. I didn't think it'd be the case beforehand. But anyway, what do I know? What do I know? Right, we've been on for 40 minutes. My throat is starting to give way. Just going to finish off that poll. 78%. It's pretty unanimous. It's pretty unanimous. I'll be back with a video first thing tomorrow morning before I go to the dentist. So that'll be a joy. And then there will be a video later on in the afternoon, maybe. And then it'll be on to the Saturday morning and the Saturday videos. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video today. I'm off to get some scran. We're sitting on 19,063 subscribers. Fantastic amount of subscribers. And trying to have a fantastic day, Celtic fans. I know it's not easy. Let's get the Dortmund out of our system. Let's get back to winning ways. And let's get back to staying top of the league.